Welcome, everyone, and thank you for coming. I'm glad to see such a nice turnout. This is a topic that is near and dear to all of us, and it's kind of the do's and don'ts of employee law. And I'm looking forward to learning a lot as well. And I'll give you Kirsten.
Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. My name is Kirsten Hotchkiss. I am the owner and proprietor of M-Law Training Programs, LLC. I'm also an attorney licensed in New Jersey. But the M-Law Training Programs gives me the opportunity to provide training services outside the state of New Jersey, and so that's the purpose of today's, using M-Law as today's session. M-Law was formed to help companies train their managers and their supervisors on how to recognize issues and how to avoid judgments and settlements like the ones I just shared with you. Companies spend lots of time training their managers on how to be great leaders, how to be great salespeople, how to be great at doing the business, but they don't often train their managers on how to spot employment issues and how to react when an employment issue is brought to their attention, and even sometimes how not to engage in inappropriate behavior themselves or to make wrongful decisions that can get the company in a lot of trouble. So after today's session, you should be asking yourself, do my supervisors have my back? Are they prepared to identify these issues when they happen in the workplace? And believe me, they do happen in the workplace on a regular basis. We were talking earlier about, there was a quote from Donald Rumsfeld 20 years ago that there are three items. There are known knowns, the things we know we know. There are known unknowns, the things we know we don't know. And then there are unknown unknowns, the things we don't know we don't know. Today's session is designed to help you reduce the number of unknown unknowns, increase the known unknowns, and hopefully give you a couple known knowns as well. All right, let's get started. Oh wait, sorry, first a word from our lawyer, which happens to me as well, to be me. Nothing I give you today is legal advice. I am an attorney, I'm licensed to practice in New Jersey, but today is not about legal advice. It is about understanding and recognizing issues for which you may need legal advice. There are so many nuances in the law. There are so many factual requirements in order to properly analyze a situation that I could not possibly be giving you legal advice. Nor does this session create a legal relationship between me or anybody else who happens to be viewing this presentation. Does anybody have any questions before we begin?
That means we don't get client attorney privilege here?
That's correct. Sorry about that. And if you want to ask questions during the presentation, I'm totally okay with that. I think it makes for a better discussion in the room. If it does seem like it's going to go too long, I might cut you off and say, let's take this offline. Otherwise, we'll just keep going. So what I did is, in the course of, yes, sir?
If they are going to ask questions, I'd like the mic to be passed to you guys. After your question, you just turn off the mic, and then whoever needs it next, you turn it on again.
Okay, so we'll just have to get a hand raised before the question gets asked, and we'll pass the mic over. Okay. In the course of my career, and I've been a practicing attorney for about 30 years, always representing management in employment matters, I've seen certain types of issues arise over and over again that occur because management was making an assumption, an incorrect assumption about what the law was. And so I identified 10 areas where these areas seem to, or these issues seem to arise most often, and these are the ones that we're going to address today. First, misconception number one, it is okay to hire somebody as a 1099 consultant instead of as a W-2 employee if they ask you to. Okay, there are many, many people who hire 10 people as 1099 consultants, but the person is really an employee. And the fact of the matter is, you cannot, quote unquote, make somebody a contractor if he really is an employee. You cannot whisk away the facts of an employment relationship. Now I'm going to ask you to all close your eyes for a minute. It is the early 1990s. Most of the people in here, the men in particular, had their hair down to their shoulders. You're in your garage with your air guitar. You're in Redmond, Washington. It's the age of grunge, and Kurt Cobain is still alive. And there's this company in Washington, you can open your eyes now, there's this company called Microsoft, and Microsoft is just starting to grow. I mean, it's been around for almost 20 years by that time, but it's really, really growing. And they've got this huge, huge staff of software programmers, okay? Except Microsoft decided, well, we're going to create some people as employees, and then the other people we're going to call freelancers. So all of the freelancers were 1099 people. And they had all the freelancers sign documents, and the document said, you are a 1099 employee, you are not entitled to Microsoft benefits, you are not entitled to any of the options that we provide, you are not entitled to any of the other types of things that go along with being a Microsoft employee. But these 1099 freelancers still reported to work every day at the same time as the regular employees. They still were governed on a day-to-day basis by the same supervisors as the regular employees. They still were directed in the course and direction of their work by Microsoft supervisors. So every other aspect of that work relationship was just like a relationship of employment. So I'm going to pick on the two people in front of me, Ron and Norm. Ron, you are a freelancer. Norm, you're an employee. You guys are sitting next to each other. You're working away. You're programming. You're coding. You're creating new programs for Microsoft. The company's doing great. Except one day, Ron comes to work and Norm is not there. Why is that? Because Norm's stock options just vested. And he is now on his yacht in the Caribbean. Right? That's the beauty of being a Microsoft employee. Ron, sorry, bud. You didn't get it. You were a freelancer. But guess what? All the freelancers were like, hey, we did exactly the same thing. We want what they got. So that cost Microsoft $97 million over the course of a lot of litigation. And basically what the court came down and said is if it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. The employment relationship is governed by control. Do you exercise control over the person that you've hired? Does that person carry your business card? Do you provide guidance in the day-to-day exercise of what they do for you? What assignments? Who actually assigns the work to them? How is that work to be performed? All of those issues are what get to the employment relationship, not simply the fact of a piece of paper that says you are not an employee. We have a question from Dune. Do we want to use the microphone?